Hello, guys. I hope your day is going so well. My baby's asleep, so we have to spend this minute talking about astrology for a minute. Okay, these are the current transits. It's October 20th right now. And in my Facebook group, I had somebody asking about if the veil is thinner during this time, like the 2 weeks before Halloween. And so I thought that was an excellent question. And so I wanted to talk about it with you guys. One thing, and so we have to start talking about what's called the Via Combusta. Okay, so this is the section of the zodiac between 15 degrees of Libra. This is Libra, and 15 degrees of Scorpio. The Via Combusta means the way of fire, and or the path of fire. And so the sun is transiting these areas, it is kind of notorious for, veil thinness, and it's notorious for I don't know, just combusting everything. Like, this is the time of the year that really allows impurities to be burned out in a way that is a little different from other parts of the year. And so, of course, Halloween falls during this time. Let's see. Let's see what's going on with Halloween. It'll be October the 31st. Calculate. So on Halloween, the sun is at 8 degrees of Scorpio. Okay. And so squarely in the middle of the Via Combusta. That it's just a time that a lot of stuff can happen on the global stage. It's a time that, if you're reading what's called a horary chart, the stuff going on in that region of the chart is considered, I don't know, I hate to say like unlucky or something, but I don't know. You just have to look at it with a little bit more nuance, shall we say. And there are some little sections of this area that are considered lucky despite being in the way of fire, which I believe is the placements of Spica, the star. Let's see, Via Combusta, astrology. Okay, let's see. It is our Spica, yes. And Spica is at 23 degrees and 50 minutes of Libra, and Arcturus is at 24 degrees of Libra. So, oh, what have I done? Okay, so let's go back to today. We just barely passed that section of the sky with the sun. And now we're back squarely in the Via Combusta. And as I'm talking about this, I'm really thinking of the scriptures, in the Bible, when God talks about being the purifier and refiner of silver, and how he burns the dross out of the silver. My understanding of silver working, which I'm not a professional silver worker, but my understanding is that when people are working with silver, they have to basically like set it in the fire and let all the yucky stuff burn all the way out. And you know that silver is done being purified when it acts as a mirror and you can see your own face in it. So that is just a really interesting concept of God purifying everybody on the planet as a purifier of silver and like burning the junk right out of us until he can see his image in our faces. And so that's kind of what's going on with the Via Combusta. So is the veil a little thinner right now? Yes, I think it does make a lot of sense that Halloween, All Saints Day fall in this zone, that people do feel more connected with their ancestors. And when I'm talking about the veil, I kind of mean like that invisible partition between, flesh and blood mortality and, wherever we go when we die, on the other side of the veil. So that's what we're kind of working with when I'm talking about that. So anyway, I do believe the veil is unusually thin at this time, but it gets more intense than that because I don't think it's the most don't think it's the time of the year that the veil is the absolute thinnest. I think that those times are during eclipse portals, when we have 2 or 3 eclipses that are all in a row, each 2 weeks apart, and it creates a little tunnel, like a birth canal that we all get squeezed through. At that time, I feel that the veil is extra super thin, and I would say it is more thin than during the Via Combusta. But the important thing for right now is that we're actually about to enter an eclipse portal during the Via Combusta. What the heck, right, guys? It's going to start on October 25th, and it will close on November the 8th, election day, and also 15 degrees of Scorpio, which is the time that the Via Combusta officially ends. And so I think we're going to see some extra veil thinning activity starting in about 5 days from now. I believe today is the 20th. And so we have a few days before all that gets started. So let's just talk about it really quickly, because this axis, this eclipse portal, is going to be taking place again on the Scorpio to Taurus axis. You may remember that the previous one was also on this axis. That's because they're always on the same axis, because it all has to do with the nodal path. Let's pull up the chart again. Chart. Okay, eclipses all have to do with this guy and this guy. Ding, ding. So this is Scorpio. This is the south node, like a bag. And over here is your lucky horseshoe at the north node. So all of the eclipses right now are going to be on this axis. So they're going to have kind of the same themes. And every time that we have an eclipse portal, we have this chance to revisit those themes of Scorpio and Taurus while we're on this axis, and just clear out as much as we possibly can from our souls, anything that doesn't belong there about these issues. And so that is good. So all the stuff that I have done with previous eclipses on this axis is going to be helpful for this one. I'm working on making new videos for this upcoming axis, or sorry, for this upcoming eclipse portal. So keep an eye out for those. But basically, some of the themes that we're going to be looking at are other people's resources versus our own resources, and having to really come to terms with where we have relied on other people, where we need to rely on ourselves, and vice versa. So one thing I want to talk about really quickly that is just entering my mind at this moment is the masculine and feminine polarity dynamic, which is something I'm really studying right now. I'm working on a book on it. It has come to my attention that women can't save the world. I'm sorry, we can't. We need men. Men take men seriously, and we just need our men to be the ones to stand up and save the world. And they're basically not. Maybe you have noticed that a lot of men are kind of hanging out, messing around, and not being responsible for anything. Or if they are, they might work and then come home and mess around and leave their wives to manage everything. And many wives are just very stressed. Many women are single because men don't want to be responsible. But it's more than that, because that made it all sound like it's the men's fault. I really feel like women becoming more masculinized has enabled men to stop stepping into masculine responsibility, and that is a big problem. Why am I talking about this? Because I had a really good question come up in my marriage Facebook group some time ago, talking about the role of self-reliance in marriage, because she really felt like she needed to be self-reliant in her marriage. And that's a really interesting concept to be talking about with this axis. I believe I disagree. I believe that couples should be self-reliant. But as soon as we start becoming so independent in the context of our marriage, it starts shutting things down and making things pretty messy. We have to learn how to be codependent, or that's the wrong word. That's also the wrong word. Interdependent. We have to learn how to be interdependent while fully operating from our respective polarity archetypes, so that we can fully polarize each other and allow each half of the equation to fully step into their role. And we know when we're doing it wrong, when both halves are not stepping into their role. So I don't know. I mean, it gets complicated because I don't know. I don't want to blame anybody, least of all ourselves, but also not other people. But like, I don't know, when we see very passive men that are not taking action to protect their families, legislatively, like they're not keeping up with politics, they're not keeping up with health stuff, they are messing around with porn and like video games instead of taking responsibility for leading and educating their families, yelling at their kids or being abusive. All of those things are symptoms of being emasculated. But how do men get emasculated? Well, women become masculinized and start taking over and trying to control and boss and do all of this stuff. And it kind of just distorts the whole pattern. And so if you're recognizing any of that in your own dynamics, then this is going to be a really important time. Like this eclipse portal is going to help us really dig into these issues of independence versus interdependence, right? And I just wanted to add that little polarity dynamic on top of it, because it's not just about becoming self-reliant and at the expense of your primary relationship or something like that. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, especially this time around, because you see that the sun has been within a degree of Venus. Venus is going to be the queen of all relationships, okay? It deals with relationships and the feminine principle. And so I need to probably end this video and get to work, because I have a lot of stuff that I want to do during this eclipse portal on this topic. And it's been really hard because, I don't know, I'm just a parent. I'm just a mom of 5 kids, and I just rarely get a break. And so I've just been so stressed. Parenting has been kicking my trash, guys, but it's okay. We're going to get the job done. And I don't know, we have to do it. Our culture is in need of a massive reset. We need women who are willing to operate from the feminine principle so that we can polarize men to step back into the masculine principle and do the job that must be done. I mean, I'm saying this as like kind of a female expert, but like both men and women prefer to listen to experts who are men. People prefer experts that are men. That is just a biological fact, and I might not like it, but it is a fact. We need experts who are men to step up and take action. And, even a man of average strength can overpower a woman of unusual strength. Like an unusually strong woman is still no match for like an average guy. We need men who can physically stand up to the world and who are emotionally prepared to do it, and who are willing to do it, and who are willing to educate themselves enough to do it. And I don't know, I know that probably about 90% of the people watching this video are women, and I don't know, my dear friends, I'm still figuring it out myself. I'm still figuring it out myself. We have been born at a time where we have not been educated about these principles. And I think also we can all agree probably that historically a lot of these principles were really distorted as well, and so I've been praying and researching and really studying about how do we apply these principles in an appropriate way, in I don't know, just in God's way, instead of in like these weird, like, messed up ways that we've seen throughout all of history, where, I don't know, I feel like women were kind of like demonized this for like all of time. And now the tables have turned a little bit, and women spend all their time demonizing men. Like, how can we do this where everybody's respected and honored for their role, and everybody, like, nobody has to be demonized, and we can all operate in an appropriate way that allows the other half to operate in their appropriate way? How do we do that? So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling now, but I don't know, we need our men. And so that means that we as women need to learn how to do the feminine thing better. We need to really step into that feminine principle, and I'm really hoping to have something prepared to help us all work with that during that eclipse portal, because during eclipse portals, we have about 2 weeks where everything is unzipped. All of our energy fields are wide open. We can reprogram really powerfully in a way that we can't during any other time. And what was I going to say about it? Reprogramming. Oh, that it's we learn the equivalent of 18 months worth of life lessons in just 2 weeks. So it is a, butt kicker. It'll totally kick our trash, but we can make big changes, and it's all starting in about 5 days. So, okay, there you go. A bunch of stream of consciousness talking about what's going on right now, but I hope that you have the best day. Thanks for listening. I hope I didn't offend and trigger anybody by talking about masculine, feminine polarity. I know if you're triggered, I feel for you, because I have been so triggered about all of it. It's okay. We're going to breathe through it. We're going to work through it. I'm going to get to work on it right now while my baby's still asleep. So I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.